These are the faces of some of the people who ran one of the most infamous heroin rings ever, the Mr. Asia Syndicate. Many thought it was wrapped up, but on Monday night we revealed the Queensland connection. Are 44-gallon drums of heroin still hidden here? Is the ring still operating? And how is Queensland tied into this worldwide operation? Also, the royal visit. We'll be with the royal couple as they meet Brisbane and also be looking behind the scenes. Today tonight, 6:30 on 9.
The Royals attract thousands in the Mall, the Hawke Economic Summit underway, and Masters Golf. This is National 9 News.
Good evening, Don Secombe and Paul Griffin in Brisbane. The people of Brisbane turned on the biggest welcome ever today for the Prince and Princess of Wales. More than 80,000 people gathered in the city to watch as the royal couple walked through the Mall and onto the City Hall. The tour continues tonight with a glittering state reception. Robert Penfold has been travelling with the royals.
In this, the final week of the royal tour of Australia, the Prince and Princess of Wales arrived this morning in Brisbane, the one city they're always guaranteed a huge welcome. Hours before they were due to arrive in the city, tens of thousands of people began lining the streets from the airport. At the City Mall, 3 women were injured when a bus crashed through a barricade. Other people keeled over from heat exhaustion. But the early dramas were forgotten when the royal couple arrived for their walk among the people. Prince Charles later described today's visit to Brisbane as not a warm welcome, but a boiling welcome.
When the Queen did a similar walk through the streets of Brisbane last year, the police couldn't even contain the huge crowds. Well, today there are even more people here for Charles and Diana, and police numbers have been boosted considerably.
Altogether, more than 80,000 people crushed into the City Mall, and most seem to be here to see that one special visitor. As has become the custom this tour, the Princess was again showered with flowers. When you get a crowd the size of today's, it all becomes a bit much. Prince Charles tried to help out with a bag, but it was never going to be big enough. Meanwhile, in all the confusion, the Princess of Wales ended up with a Hare Krishna garland around her neck, and it didn't stay there very long. At this stage, the security officials asked the royal couple to keep walking more quickly. The crowd was growing too large and the barriers weren't holding. All the same, the Prince and Princess decided not to ride the rest of the way to the town hall in the Rolls as planned and continued their kilometre-long walk at a fairly brisk pace. Inside the town hall, the welcome took on a more formal tone. But outside, the general populace of Brisbane still hadn't seen enough. Prince Charles light-heartedly remarked his mother had warned him about these Brisbane welcomes. Both he and his wife still seemed a little overpowered by it all.
And we cannot possibly thank you, all the citizens of Brisbane, enough for turning out on such a hot day and giving us such an incredible welcome here.
The civic reception lasted an hour. Then it was off to Government House where they'll stay overnight. Later in the afternoon, Prince Charles set off by himself to open a new complex at the Eventide Aged People's Home at Sandgate, where Gail Campbell takes up the story.
The ceremony was one of Prince Charles' official duties during his tour of Queensland. The Prince arrived at Eventide about 15 minutes late, later apologised for the delay.
I'm sorry that I arrived late this afternoon. I did, however, leave on time, so there must have been a miscalculation somewhere along the way.
Later, the Prince said he hoped the Eventide complex allowed young people access to its residents. He said it was important for younger people to benefit from the experience of the aged. Then the plaque was unveiled to officially open stage 2 of the redevelopment, and it was off for a tour of the new facility. Prince Charles spent about 20 minutes inspecting the new accommodation and chatting to residents. Prince William may not have accompanied the royal couple to Queensland, but he wasn't forgotten by the residents. Prince Charles was presented with a set of Australian books for his son. Tomorrow, the royal couple leave Brisbane for a tour of the Sunshine Coast. Gail Campbell, National 9 News.
The federal government today promised substantial direct stimulus to the Australian economy, but warned it will take years to reduce unemployment. At the opening of the National Economic Summit in Canberra, Treasurer Paul Keating set economic growth and a consequent reduction in unemployment as the government's main targets, and he said inflation is the main obstacle to their achievement.
The 240 summiteers arrived at Parliament House simultaneously with more evidence that the long drought is finally beginning to break. As the nation's political, business and union leadership made its collective way into the House of Representatives to begin the scheduled 26 hours of debate, the machinery of what unarguably ranks as one of the most important gatherings since Federation finally got underway. Prime Minister Hawke struck the keynote. The summit must reach agreement on ways of achieving national recovery and growth. Specifically, he said, business and unions must recognise the need for agreement on wage fixation, the control of non-wage incomes and price surveillance.
It will mean a recognition and acceptance of restraint by all sections of the community. It must mean a recognition, a sense of realism of what can be achieved in the near future. We must all understand that there are no miracle cures. There are no overnight solutions. It calls for a sustained, concerted national effort. And in that sense, this conference is only a beginning.
The day's first hardline stance came from Don Hughes, president of the big business umbrella organisation, the Confederation of Australian Industry. He warned bluntly against any moves to bring back wage indexation.
Any increase in labour costs will further reduce profitability and reduce the number of jobs which can be supported by the private sector.
Significantly, ACTU President Cliff Dolan doesn't see that as an insurmountable problem. His speech was to diffuse areas of potential conflict. He says unions won't insist on a rigid system of total prices control, and there won't be demands for an immediate return to wage indexation.
We believe that the maintenance of real wages is the key objective, although we accept that in a period of economic crisis, as is now applying, that this will be an objective over time.
At least one Premier went into the summit with other things on his mind. Tasmanian Premier Robin Gray is fuming at a government so-called spy mission in which a military aircraft took aerial photographs of work on the Franklin Dam.
Attorney General Senator Gareth Evans this morning defended the use of the Mirage fighter plane to take photographs of the dam site. He says his department was gathering evidence on the dam in collaboration with other federal departments. Senator Evans appeared embarrassed when asked why a fighter plane was used on the mission.
Well, it's not exactly a bombing raid or a strafing raid. I mean, and to talk in terms of SAS commandos and naval blockades and all the rest of the nonsense that Mr Newman and Mr Gray are on about is just to miss the point entirely. All that's happening is that an aircraft on a routine training flight takes a couple of aerial photographs.
Directed there by yourself?
Not directed there by me. I'm not in a position to direct the armed forces around the country. There was a request from the department, which I made personally to the Defence Minister. I was told it was a perfectly routine thing to do and agreed accordingly. Okay.
It's believed the plane crisscrossed the area, then circled it at a height of about 300 metres under cloud level last Thursday. Tasmanian Premier Gray is outraged. He says the jet was spying and used the flight to criticise the economic summit.
I thought we came here to talk about economic solutions and reconciliation and bringing Australians together, and we've got the Prime Minister already determined to deliver a body blow to the Tasmanian economy by refusing to let us build a power scheme that's absolutely essential to Tasmania, and then sending the Air Force down there to spy on Tasmania. I mean, you know, I really do ask, is he fair income?
Mr. Gray, the RAAF says all Mirages have built-in cameras and are often used for photographic surveillance. John Mangos, Canberra.
And of course, a lot of Australians are now asking whether an Air Force jet should have been used by the federal government to gather that sort of information. Another question Australians are asking at the moment is whether the personal use of marijuana should be decriminalised. You'll recall Federal Health Minister Neil Blewett's personal opinion is that it should be. His statement has caused a wide amount of discussion, especially here in Queensland, where the proposal has been condemned by the Premier and backed by State Opposition Leader Keith Wright. Tonight at 10:30 in the premiere of Newsnight with Paul Griffin, we'll have Keith Wright and Welfare Services Minister Terry White in the studio with Paul to debate the issue. And we'll also be giving you the opportunity to have your say via our exclusive National 9 News telephone poll. Here's how the system works.
The National 9 News polling system is like a mini computer. Each time a person dials to give a number, the machine records their vote. The equipment can handle hundreds of calls an hour, and the figures can also be given in percentages. This is the way it works. When you dial the number, you'll hear a synthesized voice explaining how to vote. If you want to vote yes to the question, should the personal use of marijuana be decriminalised, say yes after the voice says yes. Or say no after the voice says no.
Tonight, the question we're asking in the National 9 News telephone poll is, should the personal use of marijuana be decriminalised? Dial 11659 and record your vote in accordance with the instructions given. Say either yes after the voice says yes, or no after the voice says no. The polling machine will record only one vote and will automatically turn off after the vote is recorded. Remember, the number to dial is Brisbane 11659.
After I say yes, vote yes. Or after I say no, vote no. Ready? Yes. No.
No. Your vote is recorded as you speak, and the machine will turn off automatically after your vote has been cast. You may dial in your vote on 11659 starting now. It's as simple as that.
Now, just repeating the question, should the personal use of marijuana be decriminalised, yes or no? And the number to ring, 11659. Next on National 9 News, a big milk price rise, the Mideast crisis, and who'll top the Oscars.
Metropolitan's cash card, deposit, withdraw, check your balance 7 days a week. Up to $500 a day. Ask about it. It's easy. Cash card service, quicker over the counter too, at any Metropolitan branch. One high rate of interest on as little as $1. Right, Michelle?
Just ask us.
Ask us about Metropolitan's Passbook account for steady savings.
Hey, look at how well
Cash card for fast, easy access.
Please ask us.
You know, I've had a good career, made a name, won a few medals, but it wasn't all my own work. Behind every successful Queenslander, there's a Queensland mum.
Now one extra part of that is Queensland Gold. It's named for Queensland's golden sun, giving life to everything and everyone, helping them grow.
So keep 'em coming on, all you Queensland mums. Keep on doing a whole lot right and keep on spreading the gold.
See the sensational Omega Sensor Quartz. 9 computing programs, Omega quality, only $195. Test drive Seiko's revolutionary speed computer or activate the sonic timer. And you must see the latest ladies' fashion watches from Seiko or the exclusive Wallace Bishop Loyals from $39.50.
Time will bring you round to Wallace Bishop.
Where will you see the biggest range of curtain fabrics in Queensland?
Curtain Wonderland.
And where will you always find curtain fabrics at genuine discount prices?
Curtain Wonderland.
When you want a trained consultant to show you fabrics in your home and measure and quote absolutely free, who do you see?
Curtain Wonderland.
And if you want an expert professional team to make your curtains for you?
Curtain Wonderland.
And if you need installation?
Curtain Wonderland.
Curtain Wonderland, the total curtain service with all the help you need. Curtains?
Curtain Wonderland.
Milk prices are to rise substantially this month. The cost of a litre of milk is to rise by 4 cents, taking the average retail price to 75 cents a litre.
Primary Industries Minister Mike Ahern, announcing the increase from the 21st of April, said dairy farmers had been hard hit by the drought and the devaluation of Australia's dollar. Mr Ahern said feed costs had skyrocketed, and despite the wages pause, Cabinet today had no choice but to approve a Milk Board recommendation to lift prices. The Minister said another substantial milk price increase could be expected before the end of the year.
Milk prices are reviewed on a 6-monthly basis, and I'd expect within 6 months there'll have to be another increase, and the impact on inflation in the dairying industry has been particularly severe, and the drought input and how it will reflect in milk prices will be more substantial at the end of the next 6-monthly period, I've no doubt.
Overseas, the Middle East crisis and US efforts to force Jordan and Palestine to negotiate vital peace talks are in tatters tonight after Jordan's King Hussein announced he was abandoning discussions with the PLO. Jordan has been under pressure to join in the peace talks, which calls for Palestinian self-rule in the Israeli-occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip.
The government charges that Arafat has stalled on making a decision on the Reagan plan for long enough. So, for now, there will be no Reagan plan. In their 3 days of talks, the communiqué says Hussein and Arafat agreed on a joint approach to the Reagan plan. At their last meeting Monday, Jordan claims, Arafat said he would seek the approval of the PLO leadership and return in 2 days. But Arafat never came back. The document says an Arafat aide who arrived here yesterday proposed a new course of action that did not give priority to the land. Hussein had put off a decision on the Reagan plan for 7 months at Arafat's request. Now, the PLO chief did not have the courtesy to tell him face-to-face that he wanted changes in their agreement which would, as the Jordanian document phrased it, put us back where we were last October. The cabinet agreed today that Jordan can do no more. Without the PLO behind him, the king can count on no other significant Arab backing, no help against the hardliners. He would be taking the risks, and the PLO would be getting the benefits.
And in Portugal, the public assassination of a moderate Palestinian leader is likely to put peace in the Middle East further out of reach. Issam Sartawi, gunned down in a hotel lobby, was committed to maintaining talks with Israel.
The target of terrorism today was Palestinian. Dr. Issam Sartawi, a 48-year-old American-trained cardiologist from the West Bank. He was not only a moderate, but also actively engaged in a dialogue with Israel about peace in the Middle East. Police said a lone gunman shot Sartawi in the lobby of a hotel in Albufeira, Portugal, where he represented the PLO at a socialist political conference. Sartawi's record as an advocate of direct negotiations with Israel dated back to 1977. A Palestinian splinter group led by a man called Abu Nidal claimed responsibility in Damascus, Syria. The group is widely believed to be responsible for shooting Shlomo Argov, Israel's former ambassador to Britain, an act which preceded the invasion of Lebanon last year. But some from the PLO believe Israel's Secret Service is behind Abu Nidal. What is certain is that a key PLO moderate is dead.
Will it be E.T. or Gandhi to top the list in the Oscars? The glittering awards are held tomorrow night, and Barry Matheson in Los Angeles has this special preview.
It's the day before the big show, and that meant hours of rehearsals. Cameras and lights were ready. The star presenters arrived to be shown what to do when they have their moments in the world spotlight. And where there are stars, there are fans. Some of them were here today to hold on to prize bleacher seats 30 hours ahead. And they'll only see the Oscar night arrivals, not the show inside. Everyone has predictions about who'll win what tomorrow night, even those who show us the movies and sell us the popcorn.
My choice for Best Picture of the Year has got to be Gandhi. It's a classic epic, and I'm a sucker for epics.
I believe that E.T. should receive the award.
It had emotion in it, and it made a person cry and then laugh when E.T. finally made it home.
The Best Actress category was Julie Andrews.
Deborah Winger.
As for the stars' favorites,
I particularly liked The Verdict and E.T. And I liked the little creature E.T. He was very cute.
Oh, I love Sophie's Choice, yes.
Kingsley and Gandhi. I haven't seen too much.
I think Gandhi was the best, but I loved Victoria, to be honest with you.
They've all been of such high caliber, it seems. It's been a good year for film.
the odds makers in Las Vegas see E.T., the extraterrestrial, which is the biggest moneymaker in Hollywood history, as an odds-on favorite for the big prize. Long live! And Gandhi is given 6 to 5 odds of taking the top award. Impassioned debates over E.T. versus Gandhi and Ben Kingsley versus Paul Newman rages fiercely at Beverly Hills cocktail parties as they do in city bars. Millions of dollars at the box office usually go along with the Oscar battle, so this town is filled with expectation tonight. In Hollywood, Barry Matheson, National 9 News.
And Channel 9, of course, will be televising the Oscar presentation tomorrow night at 8:30. Now, please, a word to you. The telephone number we've given you for our phone-in telephone poll on our late news with Paul Griffin tonight, please just ease off a little bit. The switchboard is jammed, and you do have until 10:30 tonight. Thank you very much. Sport news next, and John McCoy.
Thank you, Don. Our main story tonight is on the rain-plagued US Masters Golf.
Do you know me? I gave Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck their voices, but no one knows me. It's despicable. So now I travel with the American Express card. Then if I'm stranded without enough money and need accommodation, the card can always rescue me. With this, my name won't always draw a blank.
Pick up a card application wherever you see this display.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it. That's all, folks.
My two great loves are this old car and my old English sheepdogs. I've been breeding dogs for 27 years, and I know you've got to feed them right if you want them to be healthy. When it comes to food, you can't go past Pal, because it's solid and it's chunky and it's got all those extra vitamins and minerals that dogs need. I feed Pal because I love my dogs and I want them to have the very best.
Top breeders recommend Pal.
Absolute comfort and perfect fit. That's all we sell, because all we sell is footrest. The biggest selection of colours and styles, and only at Footrest by Mathers are there so many fractional fittings. Our highly skilled professional fitters will find the style you want in the size you need. Get the footrest feeling. Absolute comfort and perfect fit. Footrest by Mathers. Footrest by Mathers. Fashion that fits.
Today, Big John faces his biggest challenge ever. Can he take a brand new 6-cylinder Commodore through the $1,700 cash rebate barrier? He's on his way. If he's successful, Zups will be offering their biggest ever Commodore cash rebate. That's it! A new cash rebate record for Big John and for you. Buy one of these brand new 6-cylinder Commodores from Zups, and Big John will put $1,793 cash back in your hand. Don't sign anything on new Commodore till you see Zups, Mount Gravatt and Gippy Road, Aspley.
After the news, the Queensland connection in the Mr. Asia drug scandal and the Royals here in Brisbane. That's today tonight at 6:30.
Welcome to National 9 Sport. Australia's Greg Norman is back in the running for the coveted US Masters Championship being played at Augusta, Georgia, after shooting a third round 70, 2 under par, to be 1 under for the tournament and 5 shots from the lead. At the end of the third round, defending champion Craig Stadler shares the lead with Ray Floyd at 6 under, followed by Sevi Ballesteros at 5 under, with Tom Watson lurking a further stroke back on 4 under with Jody Mudd. 2 other Australians, David Graham and Bob Shearer, are well and truly out of contention.
After the rain that's plagued the tournament, today it was the wind. Gusting in from the west, it made low scoring tough. But with a frame like Statler's, at least there's no chance of him blowing away. What a character he is, the Walrus. And this gem on the 17th really sorts out the heavyweights from the lightweights. He's got it. Ray Floyd's not normally an emotional man. A putt like this, though, and he couldn't help himself. And how about this one from Ray? The stuff that you and I can only dream about.
This is right at the hole. Give me one. Literally, best shot of the day.
Gil Morgan, who'd led them coming into today, really found himself up the creek. But for his poor putting, he missed 8 in a row from less than 15 feet. Tommy Watson might have been in front. Arnold Palmer, going so well till today, crashed with a 76. But he still thrilled his adoring army with a couple of classics like these.
The hole's any size. You look right in the middle.
Oh, how would you like to be able to do this when you're old and grey?
Well, he has meant so much to the world of golf, and particularly the Masters tournament.
And Channel 9 will have highlights of the US Masters third round at 11 o'clock this evening. immediately following Newsnight with Paul Griffin. Representing Australia in any sport is a magnificent achievement, and this week at the Chandler Pool, 200 secondary students will be striving to attain those heights when they compete in the National Secondary Schools Water Polo Championships.
The Nationals comprise competition for both boys and girls, with the Australian team to tour New Zealand named on Wednesday night. All states are represented in the titles, with Queensland and New South Wales tipped to fight at the finals of both the boys and girls. In water polo, the boys play in a court 30 metres by 22, with the girls playing in a 27 by 22 metre court. The tournament is on a round-robin basis, with each match being of 4 quarters with a total playing time of 20 minutes. There is a 1-minute break at quarter and three-quarter time and a 2-minute break at half-time. Each team has 13 players, with 7 in the water at only one time, including the goalie. The round robin is on a points basis, with the 2 semi-finals and a final being played in each competition. The tournament is being played each day until the finals on Wednesday night. Alan Thomas, National 9 News.
That's National 9 Sport for this evening. After this break, the weather news with Kathy Davis.
A group of friends from Sydney had come to see Paris. At first they thought they'd really like a cup of Lipton tea. They called out to a waiter and said,
s'il vous plaît.
The people all stopped talking, then they all began to say,
Hey, everybody shiggling, everybody shiggling, everybody shiggling, jiggling's really fun. Everybody shiggling, everybody shiggling, we love our Lipton jiggle bags, they're quality #1.
What are those?
Pomme noisettes.
What?
Pomme noisettes.
They're good. They're nicer than chips.
Pomme noisettes from Findus. Fluffy mashed potato, crispy on the outside, creamy on the inside.
These are the hands that bring the goodness to the table. Findus, goodness in your hand.
They are nicer than chips.
Here's how to have your cake and eat it too, or how to save your money and spend it too.